Hey there, my name's Spencer, and today I'll be looking at various buildings that randomly generate when you land at any location on planets and the variety of them. Let's not delay and get started. There's not a whole lot to say about this one. It's some kind of industrial outpost, or so the game tells me. It almost looks like some sort of big pipeline or something. I'm not really sure, but clearly it's been out of commission for quite a while here. There's a lot of trees or roots or whatever these are growing all over the place. I made my approach slowly because I wasn't sure if this was going to be pirates or spacers or who these people might be, but I didn't want to shoot in case they were friendly. As it turns out, they are friendly, and the first person I talk to gives me a mission to find a worker who apparently was disgruntled and upset with their supervisor and stormed off somewhere. I didn't end up going off to find him, but I'm sure he'll cool off and come back at some point. The only other person to talk to was this vendor here, and while there wasn't really anything that I wanted to buy, I decided to buy something just to give them a little money to help them out. I found a small building next to the large structure with a few workers in it. They weren't doing too much, but maybe they're just on their break. I took a few minutes to look around, although there really wasn't much to see. I'd like to imagine that this was some sort of enormous planet-sized railgun or something, and that these large curved cement structures were the things that held the actual metal piece of the gun in place. There's no way to know, of course, and the few people that I could talk to didn't give me any details about what this site was or why it was being taken apart. So I wrapped up looking around and moved on. This location is pretty similar to the last in that it is an active work site. I talked to a few different people and learned that the foreman is running a tight operation. They are on a deadline and way behind.
Not a chance. Letting strangers work here is asking for trouble. You're an injury lawsuit waiting to happen. If you want to help, check the mission board and find yourself a contract that'll take you off my job site. Do I look like the kind of person who's interested in small talk?
Well then, I take a brief look around, although there's not much to see beyond some generators, storage containers, and one building where people have a break room, so I quickly move on from this site. Besides, I'm a lawsuit waiting to happen, just like the foreman said. The next structure we have is a processing plant where there seems to be already some fighting going on. This was quite the trek to get over here. It was over 1,000 meters, so I'm pretty tired by the time I get here. There are these giant bat hammer-headed things that are attacking the spacers, so I don't have to spend too much ammo dealing with them. There is, again, not too much to say about this little operation here. The building is pretty small, and so is the inside. Just this one room and a little set of stairs that goes down to a basement area. There is a safe down here, but I can't crack it, and the two storage containers don't really have anything that I want, so I head back outside. I walk outside and find Andreja randomly firing at the wildlife that just helped us kill those spacers. And I love her dearly, but I smack her upside the head a few times and tell her to knock it off. The wildlife didn't do anything to her. Actually, that's not true. Those animals were giving her a hard time earlier, but you never know. They might be an endangered species. You better just leave them alone. Andreja and I then quickly board the ship that has landed nearby with more spacers in them and clear out the whole ship. They don't give us too much trouble, but unfortunately, as much as I'd like to take this ship, I don't know how to pilot this type of ship. This is not a Class A, which is the only ship I know how to pilot, so maybe when I get my pilot's license for other classes of ships, I can start actually taking these. The second structure that we access from the same landing site is an old abandoned hangar with two robot friends who I activate and will help me clear this place out, which is very useful. Andrasia and I head into the lower levels of this hangar, and I get into a little knife fight with this guy that I easily win. There are still more pirates in the structure, but it doesn't take too long for another ship to show up and drop off even more pirates to deal with. Thankfully, as mentioned earlier, I have my robots to absolutely wreck these guys, so that's very helpful. This is a large building, plenty of space up top to move around, as well as multiple levels underneath, lots of things to loot. More interesting, certainly, than the previous structures that we've had. After getting a view of the entire site up here on the tower, I decide that it's time to move on to other sites. Next we have a mineral plant, and I will again ask you to take note of what this building looks like from the outside as well as the inside. The first enemy that I approach here doesn't seem to care about my presence or my bullets. As we head up the stairs here, make sure that you take note of what this area on the outside looks like. Again, this will be very similar to another site on a different planet. On one of the enemy's bodies, we have a note from their leader in the Crimson Fleet that gives us a bit of flavor text about what's going on and why they're on the planet, which is a nice touch rather than including nothing at all. This bot over here is in some sort of invisible box, apparently, although the computer is floating in front of it, so I can still access that and turn it on. And there it is, free from its invisible prison. There are multiple levels in this area, including this main area that has some kind of large, what look like gas tanks. It looks like flammable gas. There are pipes all over the place and pipes that you can actually blow up, and these absolutely enormous ventilation shafts that you can walk into. Off of the main production area of the building, we have the crew quarters, of course, that have multiple rooms, a little sitting area there, places for people to sleep. Down the hall further from the bedrooms, we have a table tennis area, a little gym area, the bathroom with showers and lockers, and unfortunately dead scientists. I, of course, had to check all the bathroom stalls just in case there was a pirate sitting on the john while all the shooting was going on, but couldn't get up because, well, he was doing his business. There wasn't any. It's a decent area, interesting, although the most memorable part was probably my sad attempt to use my meek spaghetti arms to throw this explosive canister and blow somebody up. Altogether, it's a perfectly fine area. I found plenty of ammo and a number of components that I need for research or crafting of weapon mods, structures, or whatever it is that I needed. And I mentioned there being vents earlier, and speaking of that, there is actually roof access from one of the vents, so if you had a boost pack strong enough to get yourself up here, which I don't, you could have entered the building from this direction rather than the front door, so that's nice to have multiple points of entry. Once I had swept through the area, I headed back towards the ship and was off to a new planet. We're going to start to speed things up here because these videos tend to take a lot longer than I intend them to take. The short and sweet version is that this area is a not-so-deserted base. It's a pretty large area, a lot of space to move around on the outside, and some buildings that you can go to on the inside. There's nothing really too noteworthy here, although there are a lot of explosive barrels, which I like to shoot and blow them up even when there aren't enemies nearby because I just like explosions. I believe it was late in the day already when I got here, but it has turned to night. We've been here long enough that that is going on, although I'm notoriously slow in searching around and just generally doing things on these levels, so it's not really surprising that this has taken all day. I end up being here long enough that reinforcements start to arrive in this ship. This flanking move that this guy is doing is questionable, but unconventional, creative, different, but ineffective. And after dealing with the reinforcements in the form of one guy coming off the ship, I decide it's about time to skedaddle. This tiny little base is nothing special. It's got a couple of levels in it, but there are no people inside the base, no enemies to fight. Nothing too noteworthy going on here. I did, however, take the time to entertain myself with the toilet lid physics here. Just can't get this toilet lid to open, so if I really needed to go to the bathroom, I guess it's not happening. Is this guy eyeballing me? Are you eyeballing me? I don't like the way you're looking at me. I don't like the way you're looking at me. There. The last thing is this rather mysterious ship sitting over here. It's clearly on. There's that steam or smoke or whatever that is coming out of the sides, but no one is in the base, no one is around the ship, so I head inside to investigate. And what do I find on the inside of this ship? Pure chaos. A rogue turret has gone off and has started trying to shoot the crew. One of their crew got killed before I could get on here, and I do try to speak with the captain of the ship, although he doesn't really have much to say to me, and everyone is keeping their guns drawn. They seem cautiously optimistic that I'm here, but nobody really wants to talk to me. And after not receiving a single thank you for my good deed, I decide it's time to leave the ship and decide to leave this site for somewhere else where perhaps my assistance will be appreciated. This site is an abandoned UC garrison that is absolutely chocked full of pirates. You may notice that I have acquired a new weapon from my last site. This is a particle beam shotgun called the Advanced Big Bang, and whew, is that a big bang. I don't have too much trouble clearing out enemies, and I of course have to blow things up because I like big boom. Something I've noticed is that at every site there was always one enemy character who was much higher level than all the others. That must be their de facto leader, and it is incredibly satisfying that I was able to take out this level 24 pirate marauder with 3 shots from my Advanced Big Bang shotgun. It felt really nice. To me, this site looks like an earthquake hit it and it was sitting directly on a fault line, although Andreja tells me that it was probably a construction site that took shortcuts. Who knows, but it is completely destroyed. I had some trouble trying to get up this tower before because I thought the tree was completely blocking the way and I had to duck under the branches instead of climbing over it, which is why I thought about leaving this person alone up here. But I figured since they can't get down, they wouldn't have any way to survive for very long up here. But those concerns were quickly dispelled when I found out that in the cooler they had not only ham, but spaghetti as well, so they would have been fine. And after getting a nice overview of the site from on top of the tower, I head out. It is at this point that I head to a Moon Andromedus VB and see what's going on there. You may notice that this building looks awfully similar to another building that we visited on a previous planet. Okay, and we'll just head up the stairs here and see what's going on. And yep, that looks like a copy paste to me. And I'm not going to bore you with showing a lot of the inside, but it's the same. It's the same building copy pasted from the other planet, and I'm sure that this exact same building is copy pasted onto many other planets out there. So let's just get out of here and move on. Hey, so this is the end of the video. I'm about to just wrap up and kind of give final thoughts on this, so thanks for sticking around to the end. I could keep going, but I don't want this to drag on for too long, and I'm also very much aware of Starfield's randomization and how a lot of these locations are going to end up being very similar, or in the cases that I've seen, exactly the same. And it's a totally fair criticism to say, well, Spencer, you haven't been to every single planet and every location on those planets, so you can't really say that these repeat as often as they do. I've got a little over 40 hours in the game, and I have absolutely been to this old hangar before on a different planet. What I will say is that I would have liked to have seen more variety in these layouts. You can have the old hangar, the mining processing plant repeat, but if there are a few variations on the layout and how it looks, then that would make this a little bit better, I think. And there are unique locations on not every planet, but on a lot of planets. There's some place that is unlike other places that you'll find from randomly landing on a planet wherever you feel like. It's nice to see that they aren't relying completely on procedural generation. There are some tailor-made set pieces. I just feel that when you increase the scale by this much, you lose something. You lose the density and the uniqueness of different areas at this scale. I feel like, and I've been thinking about this for a while, of making a separate video about scale and density in game worlds, so leave a comment down below if that sounds like something that you might want to hear. I appreciate you sticking to the end. These videos take a lot of time to do. And to the one guy complaining about asking for support, I won't even bring it up for a while. I'll just leave the link down below. If you watched the video, that's what counts. So thanks.